Back when I was first starting out on self-improvement, I set up a bunch of businesses, and really my main goal was to just improve my overall life, and I thought that would happen just by earning as much money as possible. So my idea was to hop on the latest business trends and to essentially try and make as much money online as I possibly could. And while I learned a lot of skills doing this, it wasn't really the smartest move, and I wouldn't say it's a super essential part of being on self-improvement, to make loads of money. I mean, sure, improving your financial situation is a big part of self-improvement, but not necessarily just by hopping onto the latest money-making online business trends. So I set up these online businesses. I set up a couple print-on-demand businesses, and I also started out doing drop shipping as well, all the kind of businesses that you've probably heard of that are super popular. So I did these businesses, and the number one thing that I've really had to contend with on a daily basis in order to get any work done was procrastination. I was a chronic procrastinator. I literally couldn't get my head down and just work. I mean, I would sit down to do work and was in the work mode and felt motivated. I'd maybe do like an hour of work, but after doing an hour of solid work, I just find myself either opening up YouTube, or I would just go on to Instagram on my phone and would just be scrolling through there, and I'd spend a lot more time procrastinating and thinking about the things that I need to do, rather than just taking action on them. And I was this guy who would, one of these people who would take my laptop into the Costa Coffee or the Starbucks or whatever, and just sit in the cafe and kind of look like I'm working. People would look at me, and I was that guy who was on my laptop with the headphones on and the coffee in hand and just typing away and trying to get work done. And really, I was just there to try and portray that image of someone who had stuff going for him and was working hard on something. But in reality, I was just on my laptop. I had Shopify open, ready to edit my website and add product listings on there and continue on with my print-on-demand stores. But I wasn't actually really doing any of that work. I had those work tabs open, but I wasn't really making any progress in them because I would just procrastinate, and I would just do other things as well, and other menial little tasks like, changing the logo up a bit and maybe writing some copy for this, like, one of the FAQ pages and things. You'll know what I mean if you've sort of done this with drop shipping or print on demand. It's really easy to get caught up and do these little pointless tasks and kind of procrastinate. And recently I learned about a really interesting concept that I think could be valuable to you. And if I'd have known about this concept, I think it would have helped me get out of those procrastination pits. You can kind of go on a bit of a procrastination rabbit hole where you sit down to do work and you end up just doing other random shit for like 2 hours, and then you emerge from that procrastination hole at the end thinking, how the hell did I get wrapped up in that? How the hell did I waste 2 hours on Instagram? I sat down to do some work, and before you know it, the entire day is kind of wasted, and it makes you feel really crap. I mean, all I wanted to do was just build up these businesses and start making some money online, and eventually I did, but it took me a long time, and I reckon I could have done it so much quicker had I just understood this really simple concept. So in my opinion, this is the best way to escape and avoid these procrastination pitfalls that so many people in the self-improvement world just seem to fall into, especially young guys, kind of like myself. So you might be having this issue as well. So I want you to think of this equation. How you think plus how you feel equals what you do. So on the face of it, that might sound a bit silly and maybe it doesn't really make sense to you, but I'll explain it. I'll use it in the context of going to the gym. Let's say you're a chronic procrastinator, or in terms of your fitness and going to the gym, but you can replace going to the gym with just any task that you need to do, right? Record a YouTube video or create an email listing for your clients or something like that. Anything that you just usually procrastinate on that you need to do, you can fit this equation onto. You work at your full-time job throughout the whole day, and when you get home, you've got to go to the gym. You know that you should do it. It's leg day or something, and you know you've got to do it. You don't really want to, so you think that you're tired, right? You think you're tired. I don't think I'm up for going to the gym today. And when you think that, and you add in how you feel, you feel tired, you don't think that you should do this gym session today, that will often equal you not going to the gym that day. So that is kind of the equation, but if you can just think of that as like A plus B equals C, okay? Replace think, feel, and action with A plus B equals C. You can just swap that round. You can invert that equation. And that is something that we'll get onto in another video about mental frameworks and mental models. And this is one of the first ones. It's called Inversion. And it's just about switching things around and switching thought processes in the opposite direction. So now that we've switched the equation around, we're going to look at C equals B plus A. Now, I'm not turning this into a maths video, don't worry. I'm just trying to make it simple so that you can understand how we're flipping this concept on its head, this thing that we usually do. So in order to avoid procrastinating and not getting the task done, you can simply start off by shortcutting the whole equation and skip the think and feel stage. So forget how you think, what you're thinking right now, forget how you feel. And if you just skip straight to the doing phase, i.e., you need to go to the gym, so you just do it. You don't care how you feel, you don't care what you think, you just get into the gym and you do it, even if it's not a good gym session, right? And we're not saying you got to do the best gym session in the world. We're just saying you need to start. You just need to start doing the thing, okay? Start C, right? Once you start, it's going to equal how you feel, and then that is going to then equal how you think, okay? So if you start doing the thing, that's going to impact you in a way that it's going to change the way you feel, right? I know for a fact that if I'm procrastinating on recording a video because maybe I'm a bit under the weather and I think that maybe I don't have many good ideas right now and I feel a bit unmotivated, like I don't really want to record the video, the best thing to do and the best way to shortcut that is for me to just get my phone on the stand, hit record. When I just start recording and saying stuff to the camera and just talking like free flowing on the things that I'm thinking and things that I think will be valuable to you, maybe I can start sprouting up some ideas of what I've heard in podcasts and what I've read from articles recently. That's going to change the way I feel, and I actually start to feel more and more motivated to do this and to carry on with C and to carry on doing that, taking the action. And then when I start to feel motivated whilst I'm doing it, kind of like how I am right now as I'm recording this video, I start to feel more motivated, and then that impacts the way I think. So then I'm like, okay, yeah, I think this is actually going to be a good video. And then I'm like thinking, okay, so now I've got another video sorted for the next couple of days and that kind of thing. So it just all impacts, and literally doing the equation C equals B plus A is such a better and more effective way of doing anything and like going about any kind of task, and to balance these sort of three things, the think, the feel, and the do. And if you can just hijack that system and invert it on its head and start doing things the opposite way, there's less traffic in that direction rather than the direction most people go. And this is why so many people procrastinate, is because they stay in their head, okay? They're constantly trying to think their way out of things. They get stuck at A, and then that never changes the way that they feel. And then that means they never get to do C. They never get to do the action because they're just constantly stuck in their head. And if you try and think your way out of these things or feel your way out of these things, you're either just going to start feeling more unmotivated, or you're just going to think yourself into knots, and you're just going to start to try and justify why you shouldn't be, doing this thing and carrying on with the equation. So if you can flip the equation on its head and start off at C and just start doing the thing that you know you need to do, all right? It doesn't have to be the gym, it could be anything, recording videos, whatever the task is that you do right now that you're trying to get better at. It could just be reading a book or jumping into a cold shower. That moment before you get into the cold shower, you're thinking, I don't really need to have a cold shower today. I had one yesterday, I don't need to do it. And then you start feeling like, oh, it's gonna hurt, I really don't wanna do it. And then that sometimes leads to you actually just backing out and not getting in the cold shower when you know that you want to get better at cold exposure, you want to do it. So sometimes just forgetting about that stuff and just jumping into the shower, after a couple of seconds, you start to feel better. It feels bad at first, but then you start to feel like, okay, I've done it, I'm doing the cold shower. And then that makes you think like, oh yes, I can do it. I can do the cold shower and I am gonna be able to do this. So every time you start off with the action and the doing, it just completely hijacks the whole procrastination process, and you can literally skip the procrastination bit, because the procrastination happens at the start of the sequence, right? The think and the feel, that's where the procrastination is, because behind the do is procrastination. Once you get past procrastination, the only other thing to do if you're not procrastinating is to just do the thing. So flip the concept on its head, start off doing, and that will change how you feel and how you think. And that is then gonna spiral out of control and just, feed back into itself and you're just going to become a doer. This is how people become action takers, is they just do it, they just start. And even if it's not their best work or it's not their best effort, because maybe they don't feel, super motivated, they just start. And if you can do the work at like 70% quality versus someone who would have done the work at 100% quality but never does the work, then you're going to beat them. Just to let you know, I got this concept from a guy called Sean Puri, who I have just recently discovered and listened to him on Chris Williamson's podcast, Modern Wisdom. Definitely recommend you go listen to that podcast. It's fantastic. There's so many other little ideas like this and concepts that I just love. And hearing this idea just resonated with me because it's kind of like how I've been thinking about how to get out of procrastination and ruts and feeling unmotivated, is to just start. Oftentimes I'll go to the gym after not really wanting to go. And then whilst I'm there, that's when I start to think, okay, this is getting better and better. And then you realize that it's not that bad, Anyway, guys, I hope you got some value out of this video. Hope it helps you in any way, and improve yourself by 1% every day and you'll get there. See ya.